Hello and welcome to the Daily Aus. I'm Emma Gillespie.
I'm Billi FitzSimons.
Look, there's no getting around the fact that it's been a particularly tense time around the world after nearly 2 weeks of escalating strikes in the Middle East, a seemingly shaky ceasefire, ongoing global conflict and geopolitical uncertainty, which we've covered this week in the podcast on Monday and Tuesday. But we're not going to talk about that today. We actually are going to do something a little bit different for today's episode. We wanted to bring you guys something to smile about this week. Hi there. Before we get into today's episode, it would mean so much if you could take a moment out of your day to make sure you are subscribed to our YouTube channel if you're not already. We have 1 week left to reach our goal of 20,000 subscribers and we are oh so very close. So if you could do us a favor, hit the subscribe button and enjoy today's episode.
Yeah, if you work in the news like we do, or if you're just keeping up to date, minute by minute with a 24-hour news cycle, it can be really hard, kind of this overwhelming amount of information that you're consuming that can often be quite horrific news. And it's always this balancing act by wanting to inform the audience about what exactly is going on and then also wanting to provide, where we can, some light to the news cycle. So that's what we're doing today. You are going to take us through all of the good news that people might have missed over the past week or so.
Yep.
And we are starting with, I feel like every time we do a good news podcast, we talk about Gout Gout. And we have to talk about him today because he's broken another record.
Yeah, Aussie sprint sensation Gout Gout is kicking off our good news only space today. He has certainly brought more than his share of good news into our lives, probably over the last, 6 to 12 months, going from strength to strength on the track around the world. There has been a lot of hype surrounding him, but if you're not too familiar, Gout Gout is a 17-year-old runner from Brisbane. He's actually still a high school student, if you can believe. He's completing year 12 at Ipswich Grammar School this year, but I think his future is looking fairly bright regardless of his year 12 marks.
Doesn't quite need that mark, I imagine.
Yep, but education is a gift, so good on you, Gout Gout. You might remember in December last year, he made news when, as a 16-year-old, the teenager broke a 56-year-old Australian record for the men's 200-metre sprint. So he ran this in a time of 20.04 seconds. That, as a 16-year-old, elevated him past Usain Bolt when he was a 16-year-old. And Gout Gout became the fastest 16-year-old to run 200 metres in history. He's also insanely fast in the 100-metre event, but his 200 metres is really the sweet spot. And Gout Gout proved that even more this week when he beat his own record in the men's 200 metres. So that 20.04 seconds that he set in December, he elevated to 20.02 in his senior international debut at an athletics event in the Czech Republic.
Gout takes it by a metre and moving away, 20.04.
So good. Also, every time I think about Gout Gout, I think about how exciting it will be if he is competing at the 2032 Brisbane Olympics. We could have a repeat of a Kathy Freeman moment and to have an Australian winning potentially.
Gosh, well, it's been a long time since we've had strong Aussie men in the field in sprint racing.
Well, Rowan Browning, we have had some.
Yeah. Oh, it's a great time
Peter
at the
Bowl.
moment. Yeah, we've got some very, very speedy men on the track.
But Gout Gout, he could be carrying the gold.
Fingers crossed.
Now, I want to stay in the world of athletics for our next good news story, but we are going to talk about more of a marathon than a sprint. Now, you might remember hearing the name Fran Herndl on the podcast back at the start of May. George, our sports journalist, interviewed her. Since then, Fran has been running across Australia in an attempt to become the fastest woman to do so. So I'm sure many people remember Ned Brockman when he did this. Fran is trying to become the fastest woman to do it. Her journey started in Cottesloe Beach in Perth, and in an exciting update, she is now on track to finish her run in Sydney this Sunday.
So exciting.
So in an update on her Instagram this week, Fran announced that she is set to reach the finish line at Observatory Hill on Sydney Harbour at about 1 p.m. on Sunday, which is 60 days after her journey started in Western Australia. Now, that time of 60 days will make her the fastest woman to ever run across Australia. That's before you or I might have tried to do this.
Well, jury's out on that one.
So she will smash the current women's record of 76 days, which was set by the British runner Nikki Love in 2023. It feels like every year, not even more than that, there are different attempts to do this kind of thing.
Yeah, and the mental grit required, not just the physical effort, but the emotional kind of strength to endure this kind of a challenge.
Yep.
Is on another level, not something I could do, but it actually hasn't all been smooth sailing for Fran over this journey. She was originally attempting to complete it in 34 days, which would involve running 110 Ks per day. But she did unfortunately have an early Achilles tendon injury that slowed her down. There was a hospital visit. It was looking kind of touch and go at the start, but she has decided to press on, enduring this injury and this pain for good reason. The run is really about more than a record attempt. Fran's actually been trying to start a conversation, raise awareness about domestic violence. She's raised over $40,000 for Rise Up Australia. That's a charity supporting families fleeing domestic violence. And if you want to donate or read more about Fran's efforts and that cause, we will pop some links in today's show notes. And if you happen to be in Sydney this weekend, Fran's also invited Sydney-siders to join her for the final leg of her journey, the final 5 kilometres. So if you want to be there with her when she crosses the finish line, there is a meetup planned in Forest Lodge for 11:30 on Sunday morning. All the details are on Fran's Instagram.
That will be so exciting. Okay, so we have chatted about 2 record-breaking Aussie athletes, but I need to talk about a good news story that was brought to us by a US surfing competition this week. This had all of the authors talking and laughing and smiling.
That's right. But I promise this episode's not entirely sports focused. It's not the kind of surfing competition you might be expecting. We are talking about the hordes of fans who descended upon a beach in California a few days ago to witness the magic of something called the Incredible Dog Challenge Surf Contest. And it's exactly what you're imagining. Surfers that are dogs on surfboards. Organisers said the competition, quote, shines a spotlight on amazing canine athletes. It features a range of events, including what organisers call freestyle flying, 30 weave up and back, fetch it, diving dog, Jack Russell hurdle racing, agility, and surf dog. So the surf dog event went down a few days ago at a beach in California called Huntington Beach, where dogs are judged not only on how long they ride the wave, but also how confidently and smoothly they can pull it off. Competitors range from 2 to 13 years old across a range of dog breeds. We had corgis, we had Dalmatians, but the competition is split into 2 categories. So the small dogs all go up against each other, and then there's a separate comp for large dogs.
My favorite thing about these photos is that the dogs are actually on the surfboards by themselves.
Yes.
So previously when I've seen photos of dogs on surfboards in these kind of competitions, they're always with their owner.
Yeah, there's a comp in Queensland, in Noosa, that's the combination of dog and owner on the surfboard.
But this is just the dogs by themselves.
Yes, so there are handlers involved in the catching the waves. These are the dogs' owners. So basically, dogs get a bit of a hand up to catch the wave from their owners.
Well, that happens to the best of us. I need that too.
Yeah, we all need a little bit of a push into the wave.
Into the wave. Paddling's too hard. I relate.
Yeah, and look at those little doggy legs. They can't paddle all by themselves against the might of the ocean. But basically, points are awarded for every wave that dogs fetch, and each surfing dog is required to wear a life jacket. Very cute if you want to look up the pictures. They surf on these foam or fiberglass surfboards. They honestly look like normal surfboards, and the dogs get 10 minutes to catch as many waves as they want. They're scored on length of the ride, size of the wave, confidence, and incredible style. That's the category name.
So good. The event website also says some surf dogs go for the bigger waves while others perform special tricks aboard their board like 360 spins to earn their style points. Who won?
Well, thank you for asking. In the small dog category, we had Petey, a West Highland white terrier. He's actually from the beach where the comp is held. So he's a local. He's got that local knowledge and experience of the waves. He won the small dog comp for the 2nd straight year. We also had back-to-back wins in the big dog category. Koa, an 11-year-old female Labrador, a senior woman. She won. She's from a town near San Diego. That was a back-to-back repeat win for Koa. Makoa as well.
I love that, flying the flag for the older women.
Yes, getting herself out there.
We need more of that. Okay, and we've got time for one more good news. Take us home.
So we are staying in the animal kingdom with some exciting news today about a successful breeding program of one of Africa's rarest duck species.
You do love a science story.
I love when science meets baby animals, and what's not to love about baby ducklings?
The perfect mix.
Exactly. So conservationists have been working to boost population numbers of this species called the Makoa duck. Now, there's only an estimated 5,000 of them left in the wild in their native Africa, and they're listed as endangered by the International Union for Conservation of Nature. Pollution, climate change, all the usual threats have really threatened their numbers. And outside of Africa, there are these 12 organisations who've been entrusted with caring for Makoa ducks in the hopes of boosting their numbers and playing a pivotal role in their survival into the future. Now, that group of organisations includes a zoo in England called Chester Zoo, where, I'm happy to report, 4 of these rare ducklings have successfully just hatched. It's the first time Makoa ducklings have hatched there. And the organisation's head of birds, Andrew Owen, said, quote, "This success gives a real boost to the future of the species, and these vital new additions will contribute to the safety net population of Makoa ducks." 4 might not sound like a lot, but as Owen said, these birds are facing rapid decline in the wild, so every hatchling really does count. They're also very cute and fluffy, so we'll put a link in the show notes if you want to check out their cuteness.
I love it. I love your passion for it. And we can always rely on the animals and the athletes. Well, often we can rely on the athletes to bring us some good news. So, Em, thank you for taking us through that.
Thank you.
It took me everything to not talk about my own dog, Maggie.
We love Maggie and also my cats.
And thank you so much for listening to this episode of The Daily Aus. We hope that we were able to provide you some brief relief from what has been a very dark news cycle. But we will be back with the regular updates of what is happening in the news with your evening headlines this afternoon. We'll speak to you then.